Deforestation. The Earth is Crying by Oscar Ojeda Cana, Miranda Vega Corteguera, and Carla San Miguel Villanueva.
The main idea of this presentation is to give the audience a broader explanation of the causes and effects of deforestation and the world through visual communication, with its purpose being to motivate the audience to be more conscious and aware of the effects that it causes on our daily lives, on our planet, and to give them solutions to help reduce this problem.
The purpose of the proposal. The purpose of the proposal is to impact the reader to have more consciousness of the effects of deforestation in Puerto Rico, creating a world that can be aware of the importance to look after our environment, to the extent that each and everyone understand the problem which causes deforestation and can move towards the solution of this massive problem.
What is deforestation? Deforestation is the act or result of cutting down or burning all trees in an area. Deforestation is a massive problem that has an immense impact in the ecosystem, mainly caused by human action, and in present times the problem is most acute in the tropical forest. In other words, the cut down of trees is a massive.
What are the causes of deforestation? In an experiment realized in 2002 by Geist and Lambin, they identified the major causes of deforestation being predisposing environmental factors, which refer to those provoked by nature, such as soil quality, topography of the land, droughts, and floods, for which we have no power over. Agricultural expansions, which accounts for the biggest reason of deforestation due to permanent cropping, cattle ranching, shifting cultivation, and colonizing agriculture. Commercialization, that accounts for industrialization, commercial wood extraction, and infrastructure expansion. Economic variables and institutional factors also play a key factor in these causes, because they depend on growing cash economy and pro-deforestation measures such as policies for economic development as transportation or land-based activities. Another cause is land tenure arrangements and policy failures, and here are two types of deforestation: poverty-driven deforestation and capital-driven deforestation. Poverty-driven deforestation refers to the ecological marginalization of farmers who have lost their resource entitlements, and capital-driven deforestation refers to the public or private investments to develop the frontier for political, economic, or social reasons. Technological factors, such as agrotechnological change, the methods or machinery that are needed to produce efficient extraction. Cultural or social political factors are also one of the major causes, because they are basically identifying that the public is unconcerned towards forest environments. And the last one being demographic factors.
This image is an example of the Amazon rainforest, also known as the lungs of the world, that has lost more than 1/10 of its trees, which have been removed since the 1960s, causing a 1.5% rise in carbon dioxide levels, credit to the World Wildlife Fund. This is a perfect example of how society is not cautious about deforestation and its consequences.
Deforestation in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico suffered a massive deforestation during the first decades of the present century, when its society was centered in agriculture. For the agriculture to be carried out, the farmers have to cut down acres of tree in order to produce their crops. In present times, there are 3,400 hectares of primary forest. 2,200 hectares are found in the mountains of Luquillo in the national forest called El Yunque. The rest are found throughout Carite Forest, Toro Negro, Maricao, mainly in mountains in the center of the island, and other areas of low accessibility such as private farms throughout the whole island. Deforestation examples in Puerto Rico. For many reasons, deforestation in Puerto Rico have occurred, and some reasons are hurricanes like 1989 Hurricane Hugo caused a great disturbance in the Yunque rainforest. For construction reasons, the forest of Guanica has suffered an unfinished construction of a touristic complex. In Maricao and Sosúa, deforestation has caused soil erosion, landslides, and flash floods. The lagoon of Condado for new apartments and local buildings, and reasons by fires like the arson in the forest of Casa Pueblo Adjuntas.
Reasons of deforestation in Puerto Rico. First, human impact. For example, cattle raising, agriculture, such as plátanos, bananas, ginger, tomato, orange, and coffee. Construction, such as hotels, malls, and parking. And also arson. Environmental factors such as global warming effects.
Mural, the language of the streets, that demonstrates that its content originated by the excessive tree felling from industrialization construction. This is one of the main causes of deforestation. The mural is a perfect satire art which demonstrates a human eating a tree with his obsessive compulsive disorder, which we can say, to keep building and working on construction.
Some affected species due to deforestation. Over 500 species of endemic and non-endemic plants have been declared endangered. Examples are enmajaguilla, uva playera, granate, mamey, caoba hondureña. These plants are from Puerto Rico. Falcón de Sierra is an endemic little bird of Puerto Rico whose environment is in forests such as State Forest of Maricao, Toro Negro, Guilarte, Carite, and the Caribbean National Forest El Yunque. Guaybairo, also native, usually found in dry forest. Crested toad, found in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands.
The diagram on the screen demonstrates in an understandable way the effects of deforestation. Deforestation causes to reduce shade, increase convection, decrease evapotranspiration, reduce water retention. Reduce the shades that can lead to lack of litter and humus, to quick runoff, to erosion that causes flooding, and lack of litter, which are leaves, and humus that come from the decomposition of organic remains, lead to increased insolation, which directs to erosion, and leads to depletion of the topsoil that guides to retarded generation of vegetation, and quick evaporation that conducts to drought. Decreases evapotranspiration that leads to decreased rainfall, which causes drought to retarded generation vegetation. Reduce water retention that leads to drought to disturbed animal life.
For this presentation, we established 4 research questions. First, what sanction does the law enforce against deforestation? Second, what are the benefits of planting? Third, are there areas protected by the government? 4, besides planting, on what can we focus to help stop deforestation?
This image is about the protection and reforestation plan for the urban forest Los Filtros in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico. Solutions to minimize deforestation. Like for every other problem, there are various solutions for deforestation. The first solution is force of the law and fines. Increase richness and amount of fines for unauthorized deforestation. Puerto Rico Forest Act started on Section 17 of Act 133 on July 1, 1975 prohibits unnecessary or authorized deforestation. The fine runs for $500 to $1,000. There are activist groups trying to increase the fines. Even though they are laws, people keep doing whatever they want with forestation.
Here we see a diagram that basically tells us worldwide which countries are moving to deforestation and which are acting towards reforestation. We can see China, United States, Canada, Spain, Sweden, and other such moving towards reforestation. Yet we see most of South America and Central America and also a large part of Africa leaning towards deforestation because these are the countries that most companies use to export and produce wood extraction.
Solution number 2. Plant trees. According to Celentano, the most effective method to restoration of tropical forests was the tree island plantation method. This consists of procedures between heterogeneous planting designs and litter-fall diversity, which represents an important measure of net primary productivity. Less resource intensive, which promotes a faster increase in vegetation and more spatial heterogeneity. Also, elementary school, high schools, and college usually do activities and tend to plant trees around the school campus.
Our third solution would be conservation of habitats. To better achieve this, we propose an implementation of a sort of payment for service of natural reserves to be included in the annual payroll fees of the families. Another possible way of doing this is to increase the hours of community service in high school and in the university be required a certain amount of hours as a credit in order to graduate. Making the citizens give their free time and money will certainly indulge a sense of consciousness towards the forest and nature in all essence. Furthermore, on the solution for the conservation of the forest would be to annul the Export Service Act and the Individual Investors Act that provide tax exemptions to wealthy individuals and foreign companies moving to the island of Puerto Rico, attaining years of tax break while simultaneously reducing gentrification by making those wealthy investors and foreign companies contribute by paying their taxes on whatever property acquired and pay an established amount of money for the conservation of natural habitats. Additionally, have very strict supervision by the government to make sure that they are paying due diligence. It's very important that the law to recognize this to promote the consciousness of deforestation. In this graph, we see the causes of deforestation as detailed by Geist and Lambing in their paper Proximate Causes and Underlying Driving Forces of Tropical Deforestation, where agricultural expansion is the major cause of deforestation, followed by infrastructure expansion, wood extraction, and other factors such as economical variables.
This table explains in a simple way the causes, effects, and solutions of deforestation. The causes are overpopulation, urbanization, meaning agricultural activities, and other. The effects are pollution, flooding, soil erosion, animal habitat, and greenery. The solutions are reforestation, forest management, laws implementation, creating awareness, and penalties.
Our fourth solution would be to foment the carbon tax. And what is the carbon tax exactly? Some say it is actually the silver bullet to end climate change, to end fossil fuel usage, because it is a tax that attacks any kind of activity that would put carbon dioxide on the atmosphere. a fee intended to make those users of fossil fuels, pay for climate change that their fuel usage imposes on the atmosphere by the release of CO2, and to motivate these companies and people to slowly use and switch to cleaner energy, to renewable energy. The idea of this tax is to make the companies and people reduce their use of fossil fuels. So raising the price of these fossil fuels will cause the consumption of the fossil fuels to decrease. So if we implement this tax, companies involved with deforestation will have to start paying for the contamination that themselves are causing. CarbonTax.org states that utilizing existing tax collection mechanisms, a carbon tax is paid upstream. In simpler terms, at the point where fuels are extracted from the earth and put in the stream of commerce or imported into the U.S. fuel suppliers and processors, would pass along the cost of the tax to the extent that market conditions allow. Placing a tax on carbon gives consumers and producers a monetary incentive to reduce their carbon dioxide emissions, while adjusting prices of fossil fuels to reflect the damages to our planet and society caused by releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Countries and where the carbon tax has been enacted or proposed around the world include Ireland, Australia, Chile, Sweden, Great Britain, Finland, and New Zealand. And other countries are still being proposed and considered, such as in the United States of America.
The picture illustrates the passage of the rainfall in areas with trees on the left and areas with no trees on the right. On the left we see first the rainfall, a process called precipitation. Then the trees have absorbed the water and the remaining goes underground. Then the water evaporates for later to fall as rain. On the right, with no trees, the rain falls, but since there are less trees, the water isn't absorbed as much and the remaining of the rain, which is a lot, goes underground. To have a lot of water on many grounds causes erosion, which leads to many effects, and at last the water evaporates again. And that's the cycle of the rain.
Deforestation of the Brazilian Amazon rainforest since 1950 and prognosticated to 2020. This is an example of the amount of trees cut down yearly by state between 2000 and 2013 in the Brazilian Amazon. Conclusion. Deforestation is one of the biggest problems the human race is responsible for, and it is one that perturbs us all deeply. Raising fines, growing trees, conserving the habitats, and recycling are just four possible solutions to help reduce the intense problem that deforestation is. Yet, this is not something we can do on our own. The planet is of all, and all must contribute to its conservation and protection, so that we may all benefit appropriately from the earth and its resources.
It may seem that deforestation is too big of a problem, way too complex and affected as the world already is to solve, that we cannot do much without money or government authorization power. But that is where we are wrong. We can help fight deforestation by simply altering our everyday to day life, by consuming less products that promote fossil fuel and wood extraction, such as palm oil, that is basically included in much items that we use on our day to day, as certain generic foods and toothpastes, lipsticks, etc. By simply reducing to palm oil free products, alternating our diets, consuming less meat, switching to chicken or tofu or salmon, we help the environment. We contribute to help reduce deforestation, to better and control climate change. But for this, we must act now. We must act strong and fast.
Also, as young adults, we have the power to change the future. We have to mention this topic more in order to change it. Reach out to the media, or even educate in your own communities, to be more aware of the human damage to our ecosystem. Us humans have to protect it. This is our home, and it gives us everything we need: food, water, cover, warmth, cold, beautiful forests, sunset, and many more spectacular views. In our environment, there are many critical situations, and we could start by giving them the proper attention which it deserves, including deforestation to our planet. Spread the word and love your planet.